Rise and shine. What's up, everybody? Hey, good morning. Today is Friday, or whenever you're watching this, here we are with our episode 26, Next Level Motivation book reading with your author, Donovin Darius. Listen, we are in a series right now, and I appreciate all the comments and feedback on the impact that this reading is having. You see, in life, man, it's not about all the amazing things, not about the big things, it's about the little things. And sometimes we just need a little reminder. A little reminder of the capabilities that we have. We need a little reminder of how great we are on the inside. We need a little reminder that there's nothing in this world that we can't overcome. You know, sometimes our mind may play tricks on us. Sometimes we may go through experiences and we may question ourselves. We may doubt ourselves. And guess what? That's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal to question yourself. It's perfectly normal to doubt yourself in a situation. It's perfectly normal to wonder, will I make it? Can I make it? Do I have enough? Will this work out for me? Guess what? That's perfectly normal. But it's not normal just to stay there. It's not normal just to stay in that thought. And so again, through this reading, through this series that we're doing, Next Level Motivation, Principles for Living Life to the Fullness. I know you can't see it because of the glare. There you go. Again, we've been talking about, as I've been reading through, stopping, pausing, giving light, giving inspiration on different things. My desire and the feedback I've been getting is that people have been hearing the messages that they need so that they can take their lives to the next level. That's what we're all about. So listen, we're picking back up. I want to welcome everybody on this good day here, this Good Friday. We're picking up in chapter 4. In chapter 4, we were talking about purpose. Oh, and this has been if there's one word in my life that has changed my life, if there's one word that really gave me, that one word is so packed with so much meaning, and it's given me clarity in life, it is the word purpose. It is understanding purpose. And by understanding it, it's really gave me clarity on so many things, and it gave me direction. And so this morning, as we pick up in chapter 4, my desire is that this word, as we unwrap this, that it continues to help you see your life for what it really is. That you get a chance to see every situation you go through the lens of purpose. Remember, I got sunglasses, right? If these sunglasses is lenses of purpose, right? That means anything and everything I look at, I got to look at it through the lens of purpose. And I got to ask myself, okay, what is the lesson that I need to learn in this? What is it that life is teaching me in this? What is it that God is showing me? What is it that I still need to learn? What is this adversity trying to train me and teach me? And what is it trying to test me in? See, when I look at it through the lens of purpose, I'll understand that there's a purpose to everything, and everything has a purpose. And so we're going to pick up. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about there's a purpose to everything. I shared a little bit about my story about growing up in the ghetto, in the hood, in the inner city, in humble beginnings in Camden, New Jersey. And I talk about how that was the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing that ever happened to me growing up in the hood. The best thing that ever happened is the fact that I came home at times and I had to check the light switch and electricity wasn't on. And sometimes, the water didn't work. Sometimes the refrigerator was empty and the cabinets only had beets in it. And I didn't know what in the world these darn beets are. I thought it was an extended version of cranberry sauce. And so growing up in those environments, growing up knowing that you could not afford some of the other things that other people could afford, and knowing that all you had was each other. All you had was your family. All you had was, the spiritual base that your mom was trying to put in you and your mom and dad was trying to put in you. Knowing that you had to depend on each other and you had to depend on the neighborhood to be there for you, to help you, to know that was your situation. Allowed you to focus not on so much of, okay, how much money am I going to spend or what am I going to buy? You focused on what did I need and what do we need to do to get our needs met? And sometimes that meant sacrifice. And sometimes that meant being grateful for the littlest things that you have until the lot things or the bigger things was allotted to you. And so again, growing up through that, understanding, looking at it through, as I say, the lens of purpose allowed me to see the very jewels that it provided. I say the same thing to you. What has life taught you? What are the experiences that you went through? That when you look at it through the lens of purpose, you see that, wait a minute, it was supposed to happen. And I'm glad that it happened. You see, me going out for the Centerville Simbas, okay, the youth football team when I was 9 years old, and making a team but not having $35 to pay, that had a purpose. Because now here I am, 43 years young, and anytime I do camps, I've done 136 sports camps in my career, okay, in the last 7 years, 136. I was fortunate to win a Sports Emmy Award for these sports camps that I do because of my training and methodology and all that and the experience that the kids feel, and they have, and the parents. And because of that, my prices for these camps, guess what? Guess how much they are? Guess how much they are? $35. So think about that. Because I did not have access when I was younger. Because I didn't have $35 when I was younger, when I got older, as I grew older, and as I made it to the NFL, and as I became an all-pro, all that stuff, and I got a chance to use what I did not have back in the day, and I use that as momentum and fuel, and now I get to go back, and I get a chance to make sure that these kids, these families will never be able to not have the experience of a lifetime because they don't have the money. And so I charge them $35. And guess what? And then I also give scholarships for those that can't afford to make it. Because no kid under my watch will ever be turned away because they don't have. You see, so me getting rejected at that moment, me not having, it had a purpose to it. It had a purpose to develop in me a compassion and empathy. So that way, guess what? I can bring any child around. I can give any experience to any family. Matter of fact, we can win awards. We can do all this stuff. And they don't have to worry about what they don't have. You see, so I say the same thing to you. What is the situation that you felt like you got rejected? What is the relationship that broke up? What is the person that cheated on you and you feel like, man, how could you do this to me? But at the end of the day, all they did is release you to your greatness. What was the job that you lost or the job that you got shifted from? And now all of a sudden you're like, what's going to happen? But it brought you and birthed you into a place where now all of a sudden you became independent. You got a chance to really give yourself permission to move forward. What is that situation? And now you can look back and say, man, if it did not happen like that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I shared with you guys again. I shared with you guys when I got divorced. Okay, good. I didn't ever plan to get divorced. I didn't say, hey, I want to be that guy that gets married, and have kids and get divorced. But guess what? It did happen. And despite the reasons that it happened in terms of two visions equals the vision, it happened. But here's the benefit of it. Here's the purpose of it. Going through divorce, and after I went through divorce and through those times, it gave me the opportunity to look at Donovan. Say, Donovan, what do you like? What do you love? Who are you without just a title or responsibility, just being a father? Or without the title or responsibility, just being a husband? Who are you at the core at this stage of your life? You see, so the divorce gave me an opportunity to go on the inside and take a personal inventory and really see who it is that I am. What is it that I like? What is it I don't like? What do I want to do? What do I don't want to do? You see, sometimes your family situation and or your current situation may be a handicap. That means that, you're kind of leaning on that instead of you taking the next step, instead of you doing the things that you're destined to do, the things that you dream about, the things that take a risk. Instead of you doing it, you're just going to rely on the excuses of the comfortability. And see, sometimes I'm not saying that, it was only purpose for me to get divorced in order for me to do what I'm doing. But I am saying this, as I look at it through the lens of purpose, I can see that gave me an opportunity to grow in some areas in myself. I also grew in some areas as a father because I started to learn. It's very easy to say, hey, I'm going to love my children and I'm going to treat my children well and I'm going to be there for them. It's easy to say that when they're right there. But now it helped me. I had to go into learning another level of love. How do I love my children? How do I show them compassion, empathy, and unconditional love when they're not in the house and they're somewhere else? And they've been tainted with probably, they've experienced a negative experience of a separation of mother and father. How do I grow? How do I do that now? How do I be there for them 24/7 when I was married, but then now all of a sudden I'm not? And they're living across the country or they're living 1,500 miles away. What do I do now? Guess what? The purpose of that divorce, it taught me now. I had to learn about how do I love them? How do I treat them? How do I talk to them? How do I maximize minimum time? You know what I mean? How do I make times? How do I schedule time? How do I do these things to love them? So what did that do for me? I grew in my love walk. I read, I watched videos, I talked to them, I answered, I listened to other people, I prayed, I did all these things. What did that divorce do? It forced me and gave me the opportunity to grow. So I say to you, what is the situation that you went over? How is it helping you? How is it growing you? What if you got a medical report and they say, oh, you got diabetes, or hey, you got this, you got that. How is it making you change? How is it making you develop? How is it making you make a decision that, you know what, I can't have this type of food for my family. I got to make something different. I got to do something different, more healthier. And because I can't have it, I want to make sure that you don't have it. And so that way we can grow together and we can be more healthier. Has it caused you to take walks now? Has it caused you to get a membership now? Has it caused you to do some different things? What has it done? Because it all has a purpose to it. The title of this chapter is Everything Has a Purpose. But as we said before, because everything has a purpose and there's a purpose, everything, we'll always remember this. Every purpose is not known to man. That means you can be in a situation at that moment and you won't understand what the purpose is of it at that moment. But if you give it time and if you keep moving forward, you don't give up, if you stay positive about it, if you recite to yourself, if you do more talking to yourself than you do listening to yourself, then you realize, you know what, this is happening for a purpose. I may not know why at this moment, but I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to keep trusting it as I talk about that internal GPS, my intuition. I'm going to keep walking forward and making one decision at a time. Sure, I want everything to change, but I'm going to make one decision at a time. And I'm going to watch things work out in my favor. And so again, as we go forward, my question to you is, what situation have you had? Do me a favor, if you don't mind, type a word. You have to type a whole sentence. What is the situation that you went through? Okay, and you can be very categorically, okay, if you want. You could put, hey, relationship. You could say, hey, job. You could say, hey, children. You could say financial. You could say whatever. What is the situation that comes to your mind right now that you're thinking about that was an adverse situation that later on you realize it had a purpose to it? And that purpose brought you to the place that you are now. Whatever that place is, listen, I join in with you. You're not alone. We all go through this. The Bible says, in this world, you're going to suffer tribulation, but be of good cheer. God has overcome the world. And guess what? The same God that created all things is the same God that's living on the inside of you, giving you the ability to make decisions, giving you the ability to think, to resolve, to contemplate, to bring up, to take down, to think, to be mindful. That same one is living on the inside of you, speaking every moment. Are you listening? Are you listening to that still small voice? Are you listening to it? Or do you have the filter? Are you listening to all this stuff going on around you that's telling you what you can't do, what you can't be? And so I just want to tell you guys, everything has a purpose. And so yesterday we talked about, well, what is purpose? What is purpose? How do I grasp this in a way that I can understand, well, what is purpose? I hear it all the time, but here's some definitions for what purpose is. Purpose is the reason for which something exists. Purpose is the reason for something exists. It could be the reason for a sickness, the reason for a divorce, the reason for, an object, an equipment. It's the reason why it existed. Okay, you have been created. There's a reason why you were created. Purpose is the reason for something to exist. Purpose is an intended or desired result. You start out on a mission, you start out on a job, you start out on a mark, you start out on a plan to go somewhere. It is the intended or desired result. So that means that before I ever start the journey, I got to begin with the end in mind. I got to say, well, what is the end result? What do I want to happen before I even start this? Guess what? If you are, okay, if you are a drinker, okay, if you drink alcohol, and again, you can drink whatever you want, it's up to you what you put in your body, but I'm just using this as an example, and that's one reason why I gave up drinking alcohol, for me. I ain't talking about you, but for me, because I always said, you know what, if I understand that what is the purpose of this, and I understand that if you have to begin with the end in mind, then if I said that what is the intended or desired result before I even start, then I know I had to begin with the end. I said, wait a minute, if I continue to drink, and I know that I can be very passionate about everything I do. And I know that if I look at the results of what alcohol does to me or can do to a person, to the liver, to anything, if I go all the way to the end, and if I say, well, wait a minute, why am I drinking? I'm drinking because I want to kind of amuse myself away. I want to kind of just chill. I want to relax. I want to do all this stuff. I want to get away. I just want to kind of have my own time. I want to escape these problems. If I do that, and I know that in this world, I'm going to constantly have issues because I'm always overcoming something. And every time I overcome something or I'm having issues, I go to a bottle. Then guess what? If I look at that and I look at the end in mind, it says, wait a minute, I'm going to wind up being a darn alcoholic. I'm going to be somebody that's dependent on alcohol. And so if I'm beginning with the end in mind, I realize that's the end of where that's going to lead me to, okay? Then I need to start at the end. So when I think about purpose, the intended or desired result, do I want to be an alcoholic? No. Do I want to have my liver, all messed up? No. Do I want that to be my only coping mechanism? No. And so if it's not my intended or desired result, then now I got to question myself. Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? And when you ask yourself your question, why am I doing this? Then sometimes the answer will come out, you know what, maybe I don't have the skill, you don't have the skills at that moment, to grow in those coping mechanisms. Or maybe we need to find something else to do. Maybe we need to find something else to how we get over our trouble. Either way, we got to begin with the end in mind. So what is purpose? Purpose is an aim. It's the end. It's the goal. What is your purpose for today? What is your purpose for going to work today? Okay, there's some people that's going to work today and they're just going to check in. As soon as they check in, they're checking out. But how about your purpose today being to be productive, to meet somebody, to talk to somebody, to help encourage somebody? You may be going to a job that you don't like at all, but guess what? In going to that job, why don't you make somebody else's day special? Why don't you find something to do today to encourage somebody else? You may not like the place of employment that you're at. It may not be your dream job, but guess what? If your dream position, your dream ideal is to make people happy, to encourage people, to make people know that you're here and you're here to help, you're here to encourage, then guess what? You can always be somewhere and you can change the whole motive and purpose and you can make it what you want it to be. And so again, what is the aim? What is the end? What is the goal? Here's another thing for purpose. Purpose is the original intent for the creation of anything. The original intent. Everything has an original intent. Now, over times, people may change things up. People may do all different type of things. There may be some things that's happening right now that you're using right now that was never intended. Think about this, a hanger, a wire hanger, okay? If you grew up like I grew up, you know exactly. A wire hanger is used for hanging up clothes. And what is another hanger, a wire hanger used for back in the day? If you know, you'll type it in. All right. So guess what? But the wire hanger wasn't used for the second thing we use it for. The wire hanger was used. The wire hanger was supposed to be used to hang something up. But how many of you guys know that we can sometimes change the purpose of something? We can repurpose something, and there's nothing wrong with it. But we have to understand sometimes beginning, what is the original reason for the existence of something? What is that reason? And so when you think about it, so somebody said unlocking the car to beat somebody. Another one we use it for, it was our antenna, baby. You know what I'm saying? It was our antenna. Thank you, Stacy. She hit it in there. It was our antenna to turn the channel. You know, when you had to get up, UHF, VHF, you guys remember. And so ask yourself, what is the purpose of this? How did this start? What is the purpose of this? And then sometimes it's not until you go back to beginning to understand the very purpose of it that it brings clarity to you. It's just like it's like a message, right? You ever play that game where you're sitting in a circle or whatever and somebody says a message and then you got to pass the message along? Well, guess what? If that message goes through 5 different people, I guarantee you for the most part, by the time that message gets to the third person, it's already changed. By the time it gets to the fourth person, it really changed. By the time it gets to the fifth person, you're like, what in the world? The first person, like, I never even said that. So it's the same thing with purpose. Things can start out a certain way, but because different variations or people's understanding or limited understanding or limited manifestation or their application of it, the purpose have changed already. And so my question to you, my challenge to you, if you want to get to the bottom of something, if you want to get the maximum use out of anything, even yourself, you got to go back to the beginning. You got to go back to the original intent. Why was I made? Why was I created? Why was I placed here? Why was I given the gifts I was given? Why was I given the talents? Why was I given these adverse situations? I shared with you guys before, okay, about the different adverse situations. Guess what? I went through divorce. So now that I work for the NFL, okay, as I work as a life coach and I work for organizations, performance coaching, and I speak all across the country and the world, I can now use that situation to now encourage and help somebody else. It was original intent, the existence of a thing. I needed that divorce, so now I can empathize with somebody else. I needed to go through and keep pushing forward and keep reading and keep learning and keep loving. Why? So I can help somebody else. So through my trials and tribulations and triumphs, I can help somebody else as they're going through their time period. Everything has a purpose to it. Everything has a purpose. What else is purpose as we get ready to conclude this one? Purpose is the cause for the creation of a thing. There's a cause for it. As I said, there's a reason why it's happening. There's a reason why everything is going on. Listen, I put a message out before, back in November, when probably last year, whatever, around the election time. If you haven't checked it out, you need to go check it out. I had so many people like, Donovan, you got me with the title, man. You got me with the title when you said this, and it kind of threw me off. When Donald Trump got elected, right, I said, I put out a message. I said, the reason why America needs Donald Trump. And man, with just the title alone, people were all over the place. Don, what you talking about? Until they watch the video. And you can watch it on YouTube, okay? It's a quick 5-minute video. You can watch it, okay? And you can be shocked as well why America needed Donald Trump, okay? And all his ways and all the stuff that he's doing, okay? You can know why. I give you a little sneak peek, okay? Before you be like many people who just hear what they want to hear and they don't hear anything else. The reason why, and I'll give you a little clip note on it, but go check out the video too. The reason why they needed him, because think about what has happened since he's been in office, right? And I'm not talking about right, left, listen, everybody, the first thing you want to do is divide you. But here's what I'm saying. What is the purpose? What does it cause people to do? It calls people to stand up. It caused some people on one side to stand up in one way and others on another way. But it also caused you to realize that, wait a minute, I can't just be comfortable and depend on somebody else for my future. I have to take personal responsibility for myself. I have to stand for what I really believe in. Maybe before, when everything was okay, then, you were comfortable. But all of a sudden now there's a little friction, right? There's tension. And it causes you to pray more, or it causes you to do more. It causes you to be an advocate. It causes you to put a line in the sand and say, in the ground and say, this is what I stand for. I stand for all people. I stand for loving people. I don't stand for just a financial economy. I stand for a moral economy built on compassion, empathy. That's where I start at. Then I think about money. But guess what? For everybody, it may not think like that. But it's okay. I'm not here to tell you what to think or not to think, what to do and not to do, what to believe, what not to believe. But I know for me, what did that cause? That caused a lot, that happened. It caused a lot of people to be hurt or a lot of people to be not understand and a lot of people to kind of rise up. And what did it do for me? It gave me an opportunity now to where people are looking for answers, for me to be there with a message for them, to encourage them, to empower them, to give them, to help them get to know themselves and help them really be released into the purpose and plan that is for their lives. And so listen, man, that election is not good or bad. No person is either good or bad in that situation. The very fact is, what are you doing with it? What are you doing with the opportunities? So an election of a president is the same thing as you getting fired from a job. Same thing as you being divorced. Same thing as you maybe, the loss of losing someone. All it is just a cause. I just want to know, what is the effect? How is it going to impact you? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to stand for your life? What are you going to give accountability for you? When you're standing at the end of the day and you're saying, hey, what did you do with the gifts and talents? When God says, what did you do with the gifts and talents I gave you? What are you doing? What did you do with the time I gave you in the middle of eternity? What did you do with it? Let's just roll back the tape. Let's just sit here, like we're watching a movie. Let's just sit here and roll back the tape. Let's just see what you did. And let's just listen to what you said. Do you want to be sitting at that moment and be like, you know what, man, when I roll back the tape of my life, man, I sure enough did waste a lot of time. Dude, man, wow, I sure enough did make a lot of excuses a lot. Man, why was I, and you sitting back, and remember, you watching the tape of your life. Why was I so negative? Why was I so fearful? Why didn't I take a chance? Why didn't I stand up for that? Why didn't I help that person? Why didn't I encourage that person? Why didn't I go beyond my comfort zone? Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Why did I let somebody else's opinion of me be my reality? Why did I do that? Don't be that person. Don't let that be the environment. Don't let it be the situation when you're sitting back watching the tape of your life. Because today, I'm here to remind you that you make the decisions for your life. You make the decisions for your family. You make the decision. Listen, you may be a woman. You say, you know what, for far too long, this is, I've been sitting in the shadows. Well, guess what? It's time to stand up. Do your thing. You've been given just as much ability, if not even greater, than anybody else. And so guess what? Do your thing. You are the Eve of this life. You are the Eve meaning the very birth giver, the life giver. Come on, continue to give life. You're an incubator. Somebody give you something, man, you produce it, you multiply it, and you pour it out. It's time for the Eves to stand up. It's time for the Eves to stop making excuses. It's time for the Eves to move forward. Yes, there are movements around. Guess what? Be a part of the movement. Because guess what? The greatest person in the world for me has been my mom. And it's been my sister. And it's been the women that's been in my life. Because again, because God has given you such a power and such a unction and intuition and a compassion and empathy that guess what? When you take something, you build it up and you add to it and you produce it. Guess what? I'm here to tell you, to release you, to unleash you, to get out and get those things done that you need to get done. Do those things that you know on the inside of you that you need to do. It's time. It's time. It's time. I say to every man out there, listen, it's time for you to stand up. Stand up, grow up. You know what I'm saying? So we can go up. It's time. It's time. You know what I'm saying? As the men and the leaders of our family, we're not leaders because we have followers. We're leaders because we're deciding to say, you know what? I'm going to start with the vision. I'm going to start with purpose. I'm going to start with the original intent. And then I'm going to walk this thing out. And I don't have to be perfect, but I'm going to perfectly try to do my best. So I'm calling all men right now. It's time to stand up. Listen, I played in the NFL. I was one of the, you know, some most fiercest cats on the field. You know why? Because at the end of the day, what was I doing on that field? I wasn't on that field to make money, although the money was nice and the money came. But I was on that field because I was defending something. I was defending my honor. I was defending my team. I was defending the goal line. I was defending this city. I was defending the very rights and the opportunities for my family. That's what I was doing. That's why I hit cats in the mouth. That's why I ran all over the place. That's why I trained as hard as I did. That's why I pushed through when I was hurt. That's why after surgeries I kept working in rehab. Guess what? Because of the purpose, the end in mind, the very reason why I was doing everything. My challenge to you is, man, listen, it's time to stand up. It's time to stand up, fellas. It's time to take your rightful place. Hook up with other brothers who are thinking nothing about being responsible. You know what responsibility is? It's the ability to respond. You can't respond to something if you're not equipped. If you're not reading, you're not teaching, if you're not learning, if you're not growing, guess what? What are you going to have to pour out? You can't never give anything that you don't have. So it's time to grow. It's time to grow. Listen, I'd rather you read a book than watch a game that ain't where you're just sitting there watching the game being entertained versus being valued by putting something in you so you can pour something out of you. It's time, man. It's time. It is time. And so my challenge to everybody as we close this message today, listen, everything has a purpose. There's a purpose to everything. There's a purpose why you're watching this video right now. It's a purpose why the message got even more passionate because there's somebody that needs to hear this. Somebody needs to know this. Somebody needs to be challenged. Somebody needed to understand that there's no more time to hide. There's no more time to hide behind excuses of what you didn't have, what you did have, who did it for you and who didn't do it for you, what you have and don't have. Guess what? There's no more time to hide. It's time to stand up. Come from out of that. Junebug, is that you behind the corner? Man, I see you. Get from around. You're trying to hide behind a telephone pole. You know what I'm saying? Knowing you 300 pounds. Man, I can see you. It's time to come from behind that pole, man, and stand up and be recognized. Listen, this is an awesome day today. It's a day because you make that decision to make it that way. It's a day because you stand up. It's a day because you start everything and you look at everything through the lens of purpose. So here's my purpose lenses today. I'm looking at you saying the reason why I'm doing this message is because somebody need to hear it. And I needed to encourage myself again. Every time I do a message, every time I share, I encourage myself. Do more talking to yourself than just listening to yourself. So I hear myself, and it's up to me to apply it as well. And so listen, man, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this. Miss Virginia, hey, your book is on the way. Listen, I want to thank you guys. You guys don't know, but every message you guys, every response when you share, I read them. Okay, and I read them, and if there's an opportunity, whatever, I respond back. And I just want to say thank you guys for continuously being engaged. Being engaged. You know when the gazelle is in trouble? You know when the gazelle is in trouble? When it's off by itself. But as long as you're in the group, as long as you're in the pride, as long as you're in the community, there's strength in numbers, and there's protection for you. And so listen, man, you guys have an awesome day today, man. I want to thank you guys. Don't forget to like and comment this message, okay? What stood out to you today? Okay, I'm always going to ask you that. What stood out to you today? Post it in the comment section so somebody else can relate to you just as well. Audiobook, thank you. I am in the process. I have somebody working on my, on finalizing the quality control of it. There was just a couple little spots that they wanted to clean up, and then that'll be released soon. So Miss Christy, thank you for asking me about that. I'll be having that out there to you guys in a second, and you'll be able to hear this from there as well. Don't forget a couple other things. SoundCloud. If you don't have it, download that app as well. It's free. A lot of the message I have is on SoundCloud, so you can stream them, the audio messages as well. Some of the YouTube messages are on SoundCloud as well. So it's a great streaming where you can just ride along and you can be listening to it as well. You can listen to the titles. I have messages. I have over 100 something messages on there, over 100 something talks on there. So you can definitely do that. You can definitely do that and listen to that as well. Remember SoundCloud, okay? So it's all pro, motivation on there as well. So check out my name. You'll find it from there. Thank you guys so much. Remember, this message will be uploaded on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the little bell button to be notified from there as well, man. Listen, encourage somebody. Tag somebody in this message. Here's what I want you to do. Here's your challenge for today. I want you to tag at least 5 to 10 people today in the comment section who need to see this. So that way now it ends up on their timeline and or they get reminded, a notification that, hey, this message was for you. And this is something for you. So listen, so 5 to 10 people today, tag them in the comment section so that they can get something, what it is that you received as well. Listen, you guys be blessed today. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's come out, everybody here. I want to thank you guys again. Have a blessed day. I love you to life eternal. Not for anything, but just because of who you are. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. Peace out.